The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a gun and a bullet. Now these two objects here, the first object is my bullet, and I've just done it as a picture box, and if we look up here at the name, you'll see that that is called Pick Bullet. And then I've got just another picture box which I've called Pick Gun for the gun. Now, to get this to work and to move, what I want to do is I want to press my arrow keys on the keyboard, either the right arrow to make the gun and the bullet move right, or the left button to make the bullet and the gun move left. To do that, what I need to do is I need to click once on the form object. Now, this is one of the reasons why I didn't put buttons on my form before, because if you click a button, then the focus on the form takes the button object. I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to detect if something has been pressed on the form. If you double click on the Events tab now, which is the bolt of lightning, what I want to do is I want to now do what happens when I press my keys down. So here are all the events which could happen, the mouse, I could load the form, but the one I'm interested in is this key down. Double click next to key down, and what you'll see is you get this little function definition. I have two objects which I can use here in my function: sender, which tells me what sent it, and the event argument, which tells me what actually key I've pressed. Because if I do an if statement, if I use the variable e.keycode equals right, what I can do then, using my curly brackets, is I can say what I want to happen. So I want my pick gun. So what I want to do is I want to move this pick gun. Now I'm going to move it in exactly the same way as I've done before. So I've got my pick gun, I'm going to set location, I'll set bounds, then I need to give it 4 values. I need to give it its X control. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do pickgun.location .x, pickgun.location y, and then I need to give it, you can see you get a hint of what should be in there. I need to have its width, so let's do pickgun dot width comma, and then I need the height. But that isn't going to move its position at all. All that is going to do is it is going to keep it in the same position. To make it move right, I need to put a plus 10 on there. Now, what I'm also going to do on here, just to check that this is working, is I'm going to put an else on this if statement. And on the else, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a message box. Message box dot show. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put you pressed key, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my e.keycode. Now I've got an error on here, I've spelled message box wrong. So let's type that again. Got it there now, so we'll put message box dot show, open new brackets, double quote marks you pressed and which key I've pressed. Now I'm going to test that. Click on run now. Now I'm going to click the right arrow and you can see my gun runs. It'd be nice to put an if statement so it wouldn't go off the screen. Now currently, any other key that I press, you can see you get a message what it presses. So all I need to do now is put in the code now for what's happening with the left key. So for this one here, I'm going to add an else if. I need to have my brackets in there. All I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same as what I did for the one above. Making sure I copy all of it. But instead of making the location be -10, it's +10. Or +10, it's going to be -10, sorry. I'm going to do exactly the same for my bullet. So I'm going to set the bullet to be bullet. Pick bullet. I'm going to put the boundaries of the bullet and let's copy that. And put it into the bottom. So now, when I run that, if we look here, what happens is when I press my right key, both the objects move right. Now, currently it's saying it's moving left, so if I go back to my code, let's change that to a left. And let's try that again. Tower moves left, bullet moves right. So again, I need to go back and make sure that I've got my minus signs in the right place. And now when I try that, both bullet and the tower move. Now, the final thing is that my bullet, I want to be able to fire it. So what I'm actually going to do is on my form is I'm going to, making sure I click back to go back to the normal view of the properties, I'm going to click the bullet and change its visibility options to false. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the bullet appear when I press the space bar, and the space bar I'm going to use to fire it. So double click on the form. Doesn't matter that I've got a form load object there, I'll just ignore that. I'm going back to my form key downs and I'm going to add another else if. So this time what happens if the bullet what happens if I press spacebar. And in this case here, what I'm actually doing is I just want the pick bullet dot visible to equal true. Click on run and let's see how that happens. So the bullet is currently invisible. When I fire it, it becomes visible.